Last trading day of the month, bulls show some good follow through following yesterday's bounce. Essentially, we came into the session wanting to see if there would be any buying interest above that prior day high, above Monday's high in the 4,200 area. So what you have is overnight, you have essentially a retest of the 4175, which has been a key level of interest for the past few sessions. You get some buying in the overnight session or pre-market session with a retest of that 4,200, initially rejecting. We pull back 4175, again, the main level of interest there at 10 a.m., which is reversal time, and that pretty much marks the low for these sessions. So a number of great opportunities today within that kind of framework, within those levels that we are watching for the day, primarily focused on longs with the understanding that yesterday, looking for that follow through of yesterday's move. Buyers managed to show a bit of follow through today. Let's take a look at the volume, see how volume is looking. So yeah, volume again a little lighter than we like to see for those follow through days. Usually you want that volume, like I noted yesterday, you want that volume matching what the prior sell bars were showing, and we just don't have that on these past 2 days of buying. So something to keep in mind, something to watch for as far as moving forward. What we want to see into FOMC, which is tomorrow, is whether or not there is any continuation of this recent bounce. Remember, I'd mentioned over the past couple of days that bulls are not out of the woods yet. We are still below that key daily pivot at 42.35, which is the main level of interest for this setup currently. And that comes from the daily chart. So 42.35 right through here. Recent daily lows back in early October broke down last week. Is the action, is this bounce just a retest of that year-to-date volume point of control? Or have we marked a low for the year and we're going to see that seasonal rally everyone has been looking for? That's kind of the question we're looking to answer. FOMC will likely give us more information. FOMC usually is a catalyst that provides, huge amount of volume and then a market move to match. And so we'll be watching, once again, the key levels. 42.35, pretty much the main level of interest into tomorrow's session. And on top of that, probably today's range. So 41.75 by 42.15, depending on where we open, depending on that overnight action. For individual names, we do have AMD reporting after the bell, I believe. Let's take a look at this daily setup. So this was in a bit of a channel here, a bit of a trend lower, still pretty much holding that trend lower. There was an attempt to break it once again in early October. That failed. We're back into the daily volume point of control. 200 MA failed. So the setup is not looking all that great. If you're a buyer, if you're a bull here, you do want to see this volume point of control holding as an area of support, and then ideally earnings, the reaction to earnings is positive and you have a move up through the 200 MA. This will definitely be on watch tomorrow, depending on what type of move we see. I do like to see it above 100 for any longs. We'll see how that develops after the bell. We also have CCJ as a second day watch. Had this on watch today. Essentially just want to see if they're going to show any follow through of today's move. Pretty clean action versus the trigger. 39.75 up into PT1. No real follow through into that PT2. Kind of fell short there, but pretty close, right? Close enough. So be looking to see tomorrow whether or not that buying activity continues. And similarly, we have pins into PT1. So this initially saw a bit of selling off the open. They stepped in here versus this 28 area, reclaimed the trigger level. I was looking at 29 recent daily highs for the long here, and essentially just pushes right into the PT1. So for tomorrow, we want to see continued strength up above 30. That takes us into NQ, holding the 200 MA here. So pretty interesting. just sitting directly on the 200 MA. Bumping up against the fast MA there. Look at that. That's the 8-period MA. So 14,500, definitely a level of interest for tomorrow. But the real daily pivot here is the 14,600. Triggered the daily breakdown a couple of weeks ago, or last week rather. So again, what we want to see is whether or not this bounce is just a retest of the breakdown point and it's going to resolve lower, or this is a bit of a daily spring and we're going to trade back within the prior structure and then trigger the breakout. So once again, FOMC is going to give us a lot of clues about how this little pattern is going to resolve in both NQ and ES. So for NQ tomorrow, the main levels on watch are the 14,500 and 14,600. For ES, we are looking at the 42.20 and 42.35. Want to see, is this a short covering rally, or are there real buyers stepping in here? That's pretty much it for tomorrow's list. Any questions? Mr. Mish, any questions, sir? All good? Sweet. Well, I will see you guys in the morning. Have a great afternoon.